This video has three sections. First, an introduction to what EpiFiles is and how it works. Second, how to use it if you have contributor or downloader status. And finally, how to use EpiFiles when you have the manager role. What is EpiFiles? EpiFiles is a secure file exchange application. It has been built with EpiConcept's Voozanoo application development framework and is thus ASIP certified by the Ministry of Health for hosting and storing personal health data. It is both a standalone application that can be licensed for use on an annual basis, as well as a web service that can be used by other Voozanoo and third-party applications. This secure cloud file storage system differentiates itself from an FTP and storage services like Dropbox by using a depot metaphor. Unlike a regular shared file system where a shared folder's content can be seen by all invited persons, a zone in your organization's depot can only be searched for files by a manager or a downloader. Everyone else with access to that zone is called a contributor. It is like the deposit slot found on the outside of some banks. Many people can drop off checks, cash, or whatnot, but nobody else knows what you have dropped off. Only the manager and certain privileged persons inside the bank can see these deposits. In EpiFiles, these privileged people are called downloaders because they can go to a specific zone on your organization's depot and download the files. A zone manager can invite other people to be privileged downloaders, or can terminate someone's status as a downloader in a specific zone. If you are thinking that the zone could be filled with all kinds of unusable or even dangerous files, well, unlike a bank's open-to-the-world deposit box, it is only people who have been specifically invited by the manager who can deposit files into one of the deposit zones. If there is no invitation, there is no access. This system is especially useful when you're receiving files from multiple external organizations who should not know about each other's file submissions or even know at all that other organizations are dropping off files. Another difference this system has with commercial cloud storage offers is that there is file freshness dating and messaging to the users. If a file stays too long in the depot, the default is 60 days, it is considered stale and will automatically be deleted. This means that the depot doesn't become a junk file storage area. The system politely sends an email telling the depositor that his files have been accepted into the zone and gives him a recap list. It messages the manager when certain files lose their freshness and soon will be deleted. And finally, EpiFiles lets the depositor know if no one has picked up his soon-to-expire file and that he can extend the freshness date if desired. Contributors and downloaders. Let's take a look at an example where an independent organization A is doing second readings of x-rays in order to corroborate those of a radiology center's initial readings and diagnosis. It might look as simple as this. The radiology centers deposit their radiology scans, or any file up to 700 megabytes in size, along with the corresponding diagnosis file into the zone. Each contributor here can be thought of as a different radiology center, and they don't know which other centers are uploading files as well. This is the interface the contributor sees. Once he logs in, he selects the zone he wants to drop his files into, selects the files to upload, and then sends them. The user will receive a short email recapping the files he dropped off. He can of course go into EpiFiles and take a look at a journal showing him what he has dropped off in the past. Notice that there is no file or folder listing like an FTP or cloud storage system. Each person contributing his radiology files is blind to what other contributors are doing. If a contributor realizes that he or she has contributed a file mistakenly or a wrong version, for example, he or she can go to the Journal of Contributed Files and delete it from the depot under the condition that it has not already been downloaded by someone. Now let's look at a downloader's role. Viewing a depot zone from the downloader's point of view, his screen looks like this. Downloaders see all the deposited files in the zone or zones that he or she has been invited to. In this example, we notice that the downloader sees not only the files from the radiology center, but also from a hospital dropping off bone fracture x-rays. It is a simple list of files which can be sorted by any of the fields by clicking on a column header. clicking on the file name in the right column will download the file to the user's computer. Once a file is downloaded, the contributor who placed it there can no longer delete it, and the file will stay there until it goes stale, 90 days by default, or until another downloader deletes it. It is possible that under certain circumstances, a person may need to be both a downloader and an uploader, resembling more of an FTP or standard file environment. The user will see the file uploading interface on the top of his screen and the list of files deposited into the zone on the bottom of the screen. The manager role. The manager or managers of a zone control who the downloaders and contributors are for that zone. The manager account itself is created by an EpiConcept technician upon request. When a manager clicks on the option Invitations and Users, it will reveal a screen where the upper part allows you as a manager to invite people to your zones, and the lower part displays your invited users and the rights they have in the various zones of the depot. A manager, like a downloader, has the right to see and download all the files in his zone, but additionally has the right to move files from one depot zone to another. By default, a manager can't upload files to his zone. He can, however, invite himself to be an uploader if needed. The invitation section works as follows. You start by checking which zone or zones you want to invite an individual or group of people to. Next, the field on the left is for you to put each invitee's email and details into, and finally in the right field, enter a personalized message to all of the invitees. They will receive your personalized message in the email invitation that EpiFiles sends them. The invitation will include a link for them to accept it. For each invited person, you must specify the access rights for that user. You do so by adding the value U for uploader contributor, D for downloader, or DU for both. This will determine their access to the specific zone or zones. Additionally, one can add the default language for the invitation email and the user interface, EN for English or FR for French. And finally, if desired, the manager can even preset the password of the individual he or she is inviting. In the lower part of the screen where all the invitees are listed, they will retain a designation of invited for a given depot and zone until the invited user clicks on the accept link in the email that has been sent to him. The manager can see, for each user he has invited, which zones and what type of access, contributor, downloader, or both, that the user has been granted. He can remove an individual from accessing a particular zone or remove a user entirely. To recap, EpiFiles is a secure file exchange application based on the ASIP certified Voozanoo platform. It follows a depot metaphor of allowing contributors to drop off files into a deposit box and allowing only a reserved set of people, downloaders and managers, to see and download those files. Accounts are created for people the moment they accept an invitation from a manager to be a contributor, upload files to the depot, a downloader, download files from the depot, or have the status of both a contributor and a downloader.